appreciated your analysis on where business is going to go, but unfortunately I operate a 194-year-old manufacturing company.
Right.
The prospects for our future are dismal. I'm in the furniture industry.
Yeah.
And in the last 2.5 years, 70% of the furniture industry has moved offshore.
Correct.
Those jobs will never come back.
Right.
So, yeah, we can give up the low-wage, low-cost manufacturing jobs. I don't know if you noticed in the recent Fortune magazine, Ernst & Young, you were mentioning accounting firms, has located their tax office in India because they can hire chartered accountants for $20,000 a year versus $50,000 here. Right. Radiologists are now in Bangalore instead of at WCA Hospital reading X-rays. You call any call center 800 number on the back of any credit card, and they'll answer the phone in either India or Singapore. Right. We have exported 2.5 million jobs in the last 2 years, and if anybody has any concern about keeping people employed, cost is a factor.
Of course it is.
And they have the brain power. We can hire master's degrees people over there for less than blue-collar people here. And one last comment. My workman's comp bill alone per employee exceeds what my competitors are paying in total wages. We either have to admit that we want to keep people employed in this country or give it up completely.
Right.
I'd like to hear your comments.
Right. Well, what do you suggest we do? That's my question.
We might need tariffs and duties and use to carry it further. Right. Gentlemen like you and other people in this room pass minimum wage. Fine. Make my competitors have to pay minimum wage or pay duties to it. We have to pay workman's comp. Make them play by the same rules. We have to pay unemployment insurance. Make them play by the same rules. I am all for fair trade, but don't give me a 2,000-pound weight in a sprint and say, go run a race against them and beat them.
Right. It's a very good comment. Let me say a couple of things there. First, I agree with you. I mean, there is this philosophy that just completely open free trade is good. I don't think it is, and I opposed NAFTA, and I opposed the last round of fast track for that reason, because it didn't have any equities. I'll be for free trade when it's fair, and it doesn't answer all the questions. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, low cost, of course, still matters. All I'm saying is when it was the only thing that mattered, we had no hope and no future. And now I think there are other things that matter as well. And so the balance is a little different. And for some businesses, that makes a big, big difference. Not all, but some. So what do you do about businesses like yours, the furniture business? I am willing to explore different kinds of trade measures. I was just up yesterday at Lap Insulator in Batavia. They're one of the biggest insulators, you know, the things that you see on the transformers and stuff. And China was dumping. And I worked with them, and I got a 105% tariff imposed on all Chinese products. When the market turns up in that, they'll double in size. Now, I would be happy to sit down with you and talk about the furniture industry and see what specifically we can do. And you're right. Again, businesses moved to the south years ago. Now they're moving offshore.
A follow-up, and it affects you directly. Kodak just announced they're closing their camera plants in New York and moving them offshore.
Right.
That's very high tech.
Although I give Kodak has really tried to help New York. They still have a high percentage of their employees in New York. They are closing this 500-person, you know, the disposable camera, but they're still going to make the lenses in Rochester. And they try to keep things there. But Kodak, now there's an example. The head of Kodak told me, we are moving from from a chemical company to a electronic company. And the digital stuff that they do has a real future. And we've got all kinds of incentives as long as they try to keep doing it in New York, and they have. Some companies have really made a go. IBM, a quarter of their American employees are in New York. They're growing in New York. Corning has a really rough time lately, but they've tried to do most of their cutbacks outside of New York. And they, when the economy turns up, will do real well because their major competitor, Lucent, is gone. So when the demand for fiber optics increases, Corning will do well. But that doesn't solve all the problems. I mean, you're right. Furniture industry is a particular industry that needs some help. And what I'd like to do, not only Maura Campion, from Binghamton, works in Washington now, and she just does economic development. And I'd like to get either by phone call or even visit some of the furniture manufacturers here. I know furniture has been very tough. To sit down and let's figure out what we can do. I've had success in protecting other industries. I'm now working, dairy's a big industry here. Canada dumps dairy here. They've twice been cited by the World Trade Organization as dumping dairy products here, and we don't put any sanctions on it. I would now want to see a tariff on every dairy import from Canada here, and that goes to our dairy farmers. So it's a plus for us and a negative for them. So we can do some things, and I'd like to work with you on it. I'm glad you're still here after 194 years.
I just want to get to 200.
Yeah, okay. Well, let us work together to make sure that happens. Thanks. One of the reasons I told Raleigh this when I walked in, I love coming to meetings like this, is not only do I get educated on specifics, but I walk away and I learn something. I'm going to try to figure out something for the furniture industry with the help of Bruce.